taking a look because we're not getting this, but that's Beach Mountain right there.
I'm so glad we're not seeing that. I hope they're all right. You can barely even see whatever's going on out there.
Yeah, how do you find your way down the mountain in that?
Good luck. Good luck. But they're getting that. We'll talk about this in just a little bit. It is snowing in the mountain communities. We will probably see next to nothing, but maybe a little rain. But we'll talk about it.
So sit back and relax and enjoy us for the next hour or so, whether you're watching online, WFNY News 2 app, or on Facebook. But we want to go ahead and jump into our top story. Today marks 1 year since the deadly attack on the U.S. Capitol. Additional security is in place on the Capitol as a precaution, and security fencing was installed near the entrances of the Capitol building, and an added police force is on site. Around 140 police officers were assaulted during last year's riots, according to the Justice Department. 4 rioters also died. One was shot by police as she tried to climb through a shattered window in the Capitol. President Biden addressed the nation earlier today.
You can't love your country only when you win. You can't obey the law only when it's convenient. You can't be patriotic when you embrace and enable lies. Those who stormed this Capitol, and those who instigated and incited, and those who called on them to do so, held a dagger at the throat of America, at American democracy. They didn't come here out of patriotism or principle.
Despite the attack, Congress returned to complete their duty and formalize the election results.
In order to reflect on how January 6th has impacted our country, it's important to know exactly what happened that day. So 2 Wants to Know broke it down minute by minute. What was supposed to be a routine, mostly ceremonial vote in Congress certifying the Electoral College to turn the page to a new president.
This is a decidedly different feeling now. The protesters have overcome the police and are now gathered on the backside of the stairs of the Capitol building.
Turned into a day of chaos, confusion, and concern for America. The night before, President Donald Trump tweeting, "Big protest in D.C. on January 6th. Be there. Will be wild." As early as 6 a.m., thousands gathered in Washington, D.C. on January 6th to protest the certification of the 2020 election. At 12:15, President Trump began addressing supporters outside the White House, continuing to push false claims that the election was stolen from him. At 1:05, lawmakers start their work in a joint session. 5 minutes later, at 1:10, President Trump ends his speech encouraging his supporters to walk down Pennsylvania Avenue towards the Capitol, saying,
"If you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore."
By 1:30, a crowd of thousands pushed past Capitol police officers, inching closer and closer to the building. Shortly after 2, rioters broke their first window, breaching the building. The entire world was glued to a live feed of what followed.
There has been tear gas in the rotunda.
President Trump tweeted for everyone to remain peaceful. An hour and a half went by, and then at 3:36, President Trump called in the National Guard. At 4:06, President-elect Joe Biden addressed the nation.
Today's reminder, a painful one, that democracy is fragile, and to preserve it requires people of goodwill, leaders with the courage to stand up.
At 4:17, President Trump tweets a video saying,
This was a fraudulent election, but we can't play into the hands of these people. We have to have peace. So go home. We love you. You're very special.
8 p.m. After hours of madness, Capitol Police say the building was safe and secure. Congress returned to chambers, continuing debating over certifying the election. More hours passed.
The votes for President of the United States are as follows.
At 3:30 a.m., more than 12 hours after Congress first gathered, our lawmakers finally recognized we had a new president. and the country had to figure out how to move forward.
Investigators have arrested more than 700 people in connection with the attack. 6 of those charged are from the Triad area. Laura Steele is a former High Point police officer, currently out on pretrial release. Matthew Wood is also out on pretrial release after being arrested in Winston-Salem. Chris Spencer from Pilot Mountain is also on pretrial release after investigators say he brought his 14-year-old son into the Capitol during the attack. His wife, Virginia Spencer, pled guilty to parading, demonstrating, or picketing in the Capitol building. The DOJ recommended she get 3 months in prison and 3 years probation. Anthony Cercia also pled guilty to the same charge. The DOJ has not made a recommendation yet on how long he should serve in prison. Only one of the 6 Triad suspects is in jail right now, Charles Donahoe from Forsyth County. Investigators say he is a known member of the Proud Boys, and his charges are steeper because of that. The FBI is still looking for 250 people believed to have committed acts of violence that day.
Happening tonight, Greensboro residents will honor the lives lost in the attack on our Capitol. The candlelight vigil starts at 6 tonight at the intersection of Battleground and Pisgah Church Roads.
1 year later, experts are weighing in on the state of our nation. In the last 365 days, they say not much has changed. Dr. Tom Little, political science professor at UNC Greensboro, says if anything, the division in the country has only gotten worse.
I don't think that things have changed in the way that a lot of people expected them to. I think we are just as divided as we were on January 6th, maybe more so. If not more divided, more entrenched. I think the two sides are more entrenched than they've ever been, which will make it more difficult to find that middle ground.
Little says politicians on both sides need to make sure they're doing what's best for the country, not just their political party.
All right, let's change gears, talk a little bit about a forecast. Lots of things happening in our forecast in really different sections across the viewing area. I mean, a whole different scenario. If you look up toward the mountains, it's cold there at 40 degrees in Galax, and you can see if we look back to Boone, it's 36. But here in the Triad, mostly mid to upper 50s, 54 in Greensboro, 57 Asheboro, Burlington at 55 degrees. So overall, as we watch this next system move in, you're going to notice that the rain will start to develop across the region. In fact, if you look at the satellite and radar now, we're seeing this already happening, and some light rain. Some of this, by the way, not making it to the ground just yet. It needs to kind of moisten up the atmosphere so it can make it through. It's drying or evaporating before it gets to the ground. But if you look in the mountain communities, and you saw it at the top of the show, snow in Beech Mountain, the Boone area, and they could see a decent amount of snow as this system moves by. Now, most of the frozen precipitation with this, we think, will stay to the west and north of us. If you look at this on Futurecast, it does stay anywhere from Galax over to Boone, so Allegheny, Watauga counties dealing with this more than anybody else, and then it will clear out after that. So we could see some rain with this, but overall you're looking at more of a situation where we just sort of watch these temperatures plummet. Winds will pick up, so we could get that 40 or 50% chance of rain late tonight. Then the wind picks up. That'll actually help dry off some of the roads, but could we have a slick spot or two? Just put this in there just to say, just in case. We don't think this will be a widespread thing, but something to watch for. But those temperatures will be in the 20s, in some cases mid to upper 20s as you make your way out tomorrow morning. We'll take a look at our 7-day forecast in just a minute, let you know what you can see through the rest of the week. We have a couple of different big temperature shifts coming up.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers receiver Antonio Brown released a statement addressing that dramatic mid-game exit from the field on Sunday versus the Jets. Brown claims the Bucs tried to force him to play through a painful ankle injury. The athlete even accused staff of using a powerful painkiller on him to get him to last through the pain long enough to play. Brown said he stopped playing because he could just no longer safely play and the pain was too much to bear. He also accused the head coach of lying, saying coach did know Brown had an ankle injury. Brown had previously missed 5 games this season with an ankle injury. Now, after the game, the coach said Brown was no longer a Buck, but the receiver is still on the team's roster.
What are your thoughts on this?
So for me, you know, he has a history of things going on, and what I keep thinking, and I went back and looked at the clip, and I'm not saying that he's making this up, but in the video it looks like he was kind of skipping around and hopping through the end zone when he was leaving. And I'm just wondering, how bad was that injury that you could even do that? And also, quite honestly, some of these players getting shots or steroid, whatever it is that they take in for their muscles or joints or pain, that happens a good bit, where they can take that steroid or whatever it is and give them a shot of that in the joint to help them make it through the game. So I don't think that's all that uncommon.
With what you said about him like trotting off like that, he said there was a difference between jogging and then taking like severe hits. And then I think he got like an MRI scan, and they're saying like there was some like ankle fragments.
This, though, takes me immediately back to when Cam was pressured to play with that injury, and it totally changed his whole career, changed the season for the Panthers, and the trajectory of the Panthers now. So you really don't want to see that either.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see what comes of this. I'm sure he'll have more statement. He's an outspoken guy, right? So we're going to hear from him.
Yeah. We'll be right back.
10-9-8-7-6-5-4-3-2-1.
One, two, three. A Kernersville woman is searching for her 3 horses and a donkey. She says the last time she saw them was Wednesday. Okay. Yeah, I heard my mic do a crickly. A Kernersville woman is searching for her 3 horses and donkey. She says she last saw them Wednesday morning and believes someone may have intentionally opened her gate. WFOY News 2's Sydney Moore spoke with her about the search.
Well, Haley Tebbins' barn is out on Squire Davis Road in Guilford County, where all 4 animals were last seen. She says food and shelter is critical and hopes to find them as soon as possible.
It's very empty and kind of sad around here without them.
Haley Tebbins and her family are searching for their 4 furry friends. One missing mini horse is a buckskin gelding with white socks. The other mini horse is a solid white mare with blue eyes.
We have a 5-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a 4-month-old. So those were their ponies.
She also is missing a senior Paso Fino gelding. The horse has a small white patch on one heel and is bay. A cut jack donkey is also missing.
I have had the senior Paso Fino and the donkey for about almost 2 years now. They were both rescues, actually. So the 25-year-old Paso Fino, he came from a kill pen.
Tebben says she went out to their barn to feed them Wednesday, but noticed they weren't there.
So I went out into the pasture thinking, maybe a branch had fallen from the storm on the fence. Maybe they had gotten out through that. But I found the very back gate. Someone had picked it up and opened it.
Now she's hoping they'll be found, and with the help from neighbors, she hopes it's soon.
Horses mean a lot to me. I really enjoy spending time with them. It's very therapeutic for me, and it's something that we can all do as a family.
Tebben says she is in contact with the Guilford County Sheriff's Office. If you have any information, you can find a contact number with this story on WFNYnews2.com.
Oh, those were some absolutely beautiful
Cute
horses.
animals.
Absolutely, and what's also wonderful is today is one of her children's birthday, and as you heard in the story that she's trying to, all those kids that are on there, the many horses are their children, are her children. So even though today is the 2-year-old's birthday, she's still trying to make that day special despite the ponies and AKA many horses being gone.
You think about somebody, when they take an animal that size,
Yes.
you can't hide that very well, right? So they have to be probably out in the county as well. And I would think that might not be all that difficult to locate.
Absolutely, especially with this story, Sydney, someone might see one of these horses and that donkey and be like, okay, I know who this belongs to. I'm really hoping no one actually went back there and stole these animals from this young lady here, but hopefully if you have seen them.
Definitely a story
give
I'm
them a
hoping a
call.
lot of people will share on Facebook to get the word out there.
That's
We have it up on our website right now if you want to go ahead and share it for everyone else to see.
And she has a whole team behind her too. She said her neighbors know about it and are out there, going out there to help search for the animals as well.
It's a good thing that we can help out too. Nice job, Sydney. We appreciate that. All right, we're coming right back. Stay there. Hey, we got a couple of showers on the way in the next few hours. Already, it's happening in the mountain communities, not so much right here. But look at this. Excuse me. The rain will be moving in. I have a cold. I'm getting choked over here. We see more clouds than not, and then a couple of showers. I think in that 9 to say 11, maybe 9 to midnight, that's when we see a few heavier showers start to move in, and then we'll clear out. Now, after that, that's when the wind starts to pick up, and then we see that gradual clearing. But boy, is it going to be cold tomorrow morning. Look at the rain now. Let me step out of the way. If you look back north and west, especially into the mountain communities, you see the snow showers up there. That's around the Boone area, and they are getting that right now. Now, the majority of this still remains north and west as far as frozen precipitation goes for us, but that is something we'll keep an eye on. I do think this sort of skirts maybe along the mountains and maybe into our southwestern Virginia counties, and then that should be about it. There'll be a fine line, right, between who gets snow and then who gets some showers. So again, this is a higher elevation situation. We're not even seeing it going into the foothills all that much, but any of our southern Virginia counties, say from Martinsville west, and then maybe a little bit of northwest Surrey County down to Wilkesboro and then west. That's where we could see it snow. For us, it's just rain showers later on into the night, and we'll watch that overnight and into tomorrow. The biggest story is that overnight, those temperatures will be in the 20s, and the winds will go upwards of 20 miles per hour. That means that what it will feel like will be in the teens by tomorrow morning and the 20s for the better part of the day. A look at the 7-day coming up in just a little bit. Stick with us. Hey, there's a milestone celebration going on in Winston-Salem this weekend. The Symphony is celebrating its 75th anniversary, and they're doing it in style this Saturday. Guest conductor Joanne Falletta took a few minutes with me this morning to talk about the event you don't want to miss. Take a look. Well, Joanne, this is really cool. I mean, 75 years, that's an accomplishment, right, just in and of itself. But tell me about how you approach something like this. This is a big event.
It is a big event, and I feel very honored to be part of it, starting off the 75th year. It's a joyful concert. Of course, it's a concert that shows off the orchestra. It's a concert of great music, great favorites like the Tchaikovsky Fourth Symphony, one of the most powerful and dramatic and over-the-top pieces, and a fantastic piano concerto that maybe is a favorite of many people. And we will open the concert with a piece by Shostakovich, conducted by Karen Nevern, who is the symphony's assistant conductor. So a lot going on. A special guest pianist, Alexandra Dariescu, will be with us.
The thing for people to understand, too, these are recognizable pieces, right? These are just the classics of the classics.
You are right. That's a good way of putting it. The classics of the classics. These are pieces that people say, oh, they'll hear them say, I love that piece. I know that piece. I've heard that piece. It was chosen really for that reason, to celebrate this very special occasion.
I guess the question too is, what do you want people to feel when they walk out of there? You know, when this huge event is over with, this type of music can be really moving. I mean, what do you want people to take away?
It's very emotional, and you are so right, Eric, that when you hear music, something shifts inside. Your body changes, your psyche changes. You might come in tired and, thinking about work or whatever. You're going to leave feeling wonderful, because it really does give you energy and joyfulness, especially with these pieces. So I think it's a perfect time to come back to live music. If you haven't done it, now is the time. It's safe, and it's just so celebratory this week.
We do love live music. I'm so glad it's back. Joanne, thanks so much for being a part of this. We can't wait to see you on stage. And the key to this performance is the fact that she said, even for the average person, like I don't know about you guys, but I couldn't name very many classical pieces by name. I might know the tune. And she said this is the type of one where you'll go, oh, I know that one. Oh, I know that one. And then, so they're the classics of the classics, she said.
I like what you said about it's great to just have live performances again, because that's the experience that we love, especially hearing those strings and all those instruments. You're just really like, wow, these people are so talented.
And the older I get, the more I get into classical music. I found it's really fun now to clean the house to it.
Okay.
And just hang out. Something about not having words is you just zone out when you listen to the.
It's relaxing.
Music.
Yeah, it's good to take a nap to it, just to calm your mind and just to reflect and think. It's very soothing.
See, I always think of, if I listen to a symphony, first of all, hearing a symphony in person is totally different than hearing it on a recording. It's just not the same.
Very different.
But when you sit there, and when I listen to classical music, I think of like action movie scenes. That's what goes through my head. It's
like the superhero. You think of the superhero that's like. Da-da-da.
That's right. Yes. It's like the Marvel theme. And anyway, check that out. It is going to be cool.
Hey, ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie, they forever go together like a classic combination.
Well, welcome back to the 4 to 5. I'm Lauren Coleman here with Eric Chilton and Ben Briscoe, and we have some great news to start this half hour. We just learned that a donkey and one of the missing horses from Sydney's story has been found. The other horses are still missing, but we do know that the donkey and the horse has been found, so that is some great news there.
And the other two have to be nearby.
They have
you think
to.
they got to travel in a group.
That's right, you would think.
So if you've seen them, make sure that you give our station a call or reach out to the lady who owns them.
We've got so much more news for you too, and weather. There's a lot going on with
Yes.
that. But first, we need to tell you about an important coronavirus update at
Yes.
4:30.
Let's start with that. The World Health Organization identified a new COVID variant in Paris. The IHU variant was identified back in November, and a person who had returned from Cameroon in Central Africa. 11 more people were infected with the variant, but they all knew the traveler. This variant hasn't been detected in any other patients except the 12 original people. The World Health Organization says new variants are identified every week, and while this one is on their radar, it's not listed as a variant of concern. Organization members say it's too early to speculate what this new variant is capable of.
Instead, Omicron and Delta still giving a big impact here. COVID hospitalizations have been spiking at all levels from the state on down. The state is reporting nearly 3,300 hospitalizations today. It is about 200 more than yesterday and the highest number we've seen since last September, more than 3 months ago. At the county level, Guilford hospitals are treating 221 patients today. It is the highest number the county's reported since late January, nearly a year ago. Cone Health is also seeing a spike, now treating 226 patients at all of its facilities. That is the highest Cone Health has reported since late January as well. The city of Winston-Salem is limiting access to city buildings through the end of the month. Mayor Alan Joines has ordered an in-person access to city buildings by appointment only. The order takes effect at 5 p.m. tomorrow. Mayor Joines encourages residents to handle their business with the city online or over the phone if possible.
It's the second day students in Chicago are out of school as city leaders battle with the teachers union. The teachers union voted to move to remote learning while teachers negotiated options with Chicago school leaders. The district canceled classes 2 days in a row after rejecting a return to remote learning. District leaders say remote learning worsened racial inequities and hurt academic performance. Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot says enough is enough.
And when will be the end of this? If we capitulate and give in this time, as they're trying to force us unilaterally to do, there will be no end. No end in sight ever.
Okay, so I'm just kind of confused about this. We cancel school, so we don't even have remote learning as an option. So how do the students benefit from this? They're just losing school time while there's this back and forth here.
Well, I think the teachers would say that the students stay safe through all of this, but there is some question over whether or not that's true. Here in Guilford County, our health director says the school building is the safest place for kids to be because that's where all of the protocols are actually followed the best.
I was thinking the same thing you were, Lauren, because I was like, well, there's no remote learning going on. I mean, that's the point, you know? And so, I was kind of with you on that, and I would question this all day long, trying to figure out exactly what this means and how it's good for the kids.
Hopefully they figure this out, because I understand where the teachers are coming from. They want to be safe as well, keep the students safe, but I just don't get the whole, we're just going to cancel class altogether, that portion, so.
And it's like all the adults can't get on the same page. So how do the kids know who to look up to and look for answers here?
That's absolutely right.
That's a common theme when it comes to schools, man. You know, we see it all the time. That there's this group and that group and this group and that group, and they're all pretty vocal.
Well, back to school safety during the pandemic is on the top of mind for Guilford County schools too. District leaders admitted their plans for the second half of the year. They're kind of fluid right now, but the district is committed to keeping students in school as long as it's safe. Superintendent Dr. Sharon Contreras says there might be a couple of times when some classrooms must go to remote or when parents need to drive their children to school because of a bus driver shortage. The district is looking to hire more substitute teachers and bus drivers to help keep students in school this spring.
School closures had a devastating impact on our students' learning and on their emotional health and well-being. That's why we're committed to in-person learning and why we will do everything in our power to keep our students healthy and safe in our buildings.
District officials say they've been working with teachers to make sure they and their students are able to switch remote if needed.
Coming up tonight on WFNY News 2 at 5:30, a conversation about school safety. You've seen the headlines here all across the nation. Lockdown, school shootings, and kids bringing guns to school. We asked leaders with Guilford County Schools and Triad law enforcement to join us to talk about the issues. Dr. Sharon Contreras says part of the problem is mental health and getting the right resources to help students.
The state has given us more money for mental health professionals, but they aren't here. So we have the money, but districts are having trouble spending the funds now, not just here in Guilford County or in the state of North Carolina, but across the country, because they're not in the universities anymore. They're not going through the preparation program. So it's going to take time now.
It's not just an issue for school leaders, teachers, counselors, or law enforcement. It's a community issue that High Point Police Chief Travis Stroud says everyone needs to take part in solving.
But I do believe we see a lot of people in the community. There's a lot of good folks out there who are committed to this. I mean, especially inside our schools and outside our schools. Once we can finally learn how to pool those resources and commit our effort, I mean, I really think that's where we're going to see a difference. But you have to realize it's going to be an inconvenience.
Tonight, Tracy McCain and Chad Silber sit down with Guilford County law enforcement and school leaders for this very important conversation. Safety Matters, a pledge to protect. That's tonight at 5:30 on WFNY.
Right now, though, we want to get to your 4 to 5 roundup. Hundreds of passengers who embarked on an 11-day cruise from Miami returned to port yesterday after just 2 days at sea. Several dozen crew members came down with COVID. The CDC says COVID-19 cases have been reported, listen to this, on every single cruise ship sailing with passengers in U.S. waters. The latest data shows all 92 ships with passengers currently meet criteria for investigation by the health agency. Royal Caribbean and Norwegian Cruise Lines canceled sailing as cases continued surging. The CDC recently warned everyone not to take cruises as long as high-risk activity remains. The world's top male tennis player is fighting for deportation from Australia as he continues debating his vaccine status. The #1 men's world tennis player was confined to an immigration detention hotel while he waited for a court ruling on whether he could compete in the Australian Open later this month. He claims he was given medical exemption and argued he could provide the needed documentation. According to the Australian Prime Minister, the tennis player did not have a valid exemption. The Mayo Clinic has fired approximately 700 employees for failing to meet the company's COVID vaccine mandate. The nonprofit medical center gave all employees until Monday, January 3rd to get at least their first dose of the vaccine or show medical proof or religious exemption. According to the Mayo Clinic, the numbers account for about 1% of 73,000 total employees the clinic has. And the Greensboro Science Center wants your help naming the baby African penguin that recently hatched. The penguin was born back in November and still needs a name. Your choices here are Newton, Niffler, and Piper. The Science Center says the penguin's gender is still undetermined. A blood test needs to be done to figure that out. You can vote on the final name by finding this story on our website, and we're even going to share it with you on the 4 to 5 Facebook page. The deadline to vote is Sunday, January 9th.
Now this is interesting. I didn't know you needed a blood test to determine the gender of a penguin. Did you all know that?
I did not
know. I do know that I am all about alliteration, so I like Piper the penguin.
I like Piper too. That was my choice too. It sounds very hip. What about you, Eric?
I think that works. Yeah, that works for me. I'm with Ben on that. You have to have an alliterative name for it to work right.
But what if it's like a boy or it ends up being a girl and it's a girl and their name is Newton?
They may have to change. Well, then just come up with another name that starts with P. Lots of those. That would work. Hey, going back to Novak Djokovic, it's interesting because he's on the edge of, if he wins a few more majors, he'll have, I think, it's the most majors in history of tennis. So, and the Australian Open is a major tennis tournament. So this is, a big deal to him. But we all know, because we've read the headlines, Australia doesn't play around when it comes to this. So we'll see whether he gets a chance to play or not.
We'll have to keep our eyes on that one. Tanya's next.
Oh, nope, we're going to talk about a forecast first. Lauren's trying to get rid of me. I see how it is, Coleman. I'm watching you. All right, here's what we have going on with our forecast. Hey, we've got some rain moving in now. Some of this is evaporating before it reaches the ground, but you will start to see some shower activity, especially when we get into the later hours tonight. I think maybe in that 9 to 11 p.m. time period, we could see a shower or two. As far as frozen precipitation, that's probably isolated to more of the southern Virginia counties that are over here, like closer to, say, Galax in that area, and then down to Allegheny, Ash, and Watauga. Those 3 counties probably get more of this snow than we will. We don't think a lot of this is going to make it over the mountains and down close enough to us. And when I say that, I mean the frozen stuff. Obviously, we'll get some rain from this in the overnight hours, but pretty strong front, and the winds will start to pick up on the backside of this. One of the bigger issues for us, yes, it's snow in the higher elevations, but you notice it's just rain across us. The bigger issue for us is, could we see a little black ice in the morning? Maybe, but I think we just have to keep an eye out for that. It's the wind gusts. Winds will be up to 25 to 35 miles per hour. This rain clears out pretty quickly, and we plummet temperature-wise, going from these upper 40s in that 9 to 11 p.m. time period all the way down to the 20s for tomorrow morning, although it'll be clear and windy. Wind chill readings will make it feel more like the teens in some areas, and mostly it'll feel like it's in the 20s most of the day tomorrow. So it is going to be a cold Friday and windy as well. 35 degrees, that's as warm as we get. Saturday, 40 and sunny. Some rain on Sunday and up to 48. And next week, we're mostly in the 40s, but that cold day Tuesday, sunny, 21 in the morning, 36 for the high.
1 minute, I'm like this. Everything's great. And then I get this in my hand, and I'm like this all the time. All right, friends.
Calm down, my friend.
Simmer down.
Can you relate to
Tanya,
this?
put it down. It is too dangerous.
Can you relate to this? The struggle is real with
Yes.
driving pet peeves.
It is. I find myself, I get angrier behind the wheel. It's horrible to say, but I feel, I don't know why that is.
Yeah, I get pretty frustrated too. I'm just like, oh, go.
One of the things I'm working on for the new year is assuming everyone around me is coming from a positive place. So I'm going to assume other drivers are positive too and want the best for all of us. So
I like that.
hopefully I won't get as angry, but it's tough.
Okay, I have a few driving pet peeves. Not all pet peeves, I have to say, are simply peeves. Some of them are actually the law. So let's take a look at this. When your wipers are on, your headlights, they need to be on too. Here's the state law when it comes to having your headlights on. The statute says lighting is required when windshield wipers are in use as a result of smoke or fog, rain, sleet, snow, inclement weather. The only time you don't need your lights on is when the windshield wipers are used intermittently. Now, I gotta say, it's always the people with gray or silver cars that I have a hard time seeing because they don't put their lights on.
And they should in that color car, because that's difficult when it's raining or snowing or something like that.
Or if it's dark outside or something.
It is. I'm like, what is up with that? So if your wipers are on, friends, your headlights need to be on too. By the way, a cop can actually pull you over for not having your headlights on in this situation. It just doesn't really happen very often. All right, now to my other pet peeve. Are you ready? Here we go. All right. People driving with their hazards on. In some states, this too is against the law. One of our news partners asked a patrolman about it a few years ago.
The lights reflecting off the rain, off the windshields, it puts a glare on the windshields of other drivers.
Why do people do it?
I have no idea, but I've noticed it for years. It's just one of those things that you always see, and I guess people see it and they do it as well, thinking it's making you more visible. If it's that bad out, I would suggest that you use your turn signals, get over to the side of the road and either wait it out or just find somewhere to go park.
That's right. Don't drive with your hazards on. Besides the bad reflection that he talked about, here's the other issue. If either one of the cars in either one of the lanes needs to get over and change lanes to, say, get off at an exit or whatever, their blinkers do not work when their flashers are on. So other drivers have no idea that you're about to come in their lane, and it is a problem. Hey, and don't even get me started on how people need to use their blinkers, right?
It's a shame those fancy cars don't come with them anymore, because I never see blinkers on the road anymore.
I can't stand it when people don't use a blinker. That is, Tanya, that is my number one.
Pet peeve is the blinker?
Yep.
I don't like it when like everything's going down to one lane and people drive all the way down, then trying to merge in. And I'm like, if I had to wait, you have to wait too.
That's right. I'm not letting you in.
I don't like when you're already going the speed limit and someone gets mad at you for not going faster.
And they try to intimidate you by driving like closer and closer. And then I'm like, let me just get over it.
You really want to slow down when they do that,
No,
don't you?
I'm like afraid.
I know. And I just will, one more PSA. If you're in the left-hand lane and someone's coming up behind you, get over to the right-hand lane. Okay.
That's a good point.
There we go. Okay, now that we've got all our peeves out, be safe out there, friends.
All right, when it comes to whether a meal is made with real meat or not, can you tell a difference without the label? I know it sounds disgusting. KFC's new Beyond Fried Chicken takes its place on menus at restaurants nationwide. This starts Monday. The meatless option was first unveiled in some Atlanta restaurants in August of 2019. After the success of that, the companies later rolled out Beyond Fried Chicken in 3 other cities, including Charlotte. So I asked you on Facebook page to describe meatless chicken in 5 words. Renee says it's not finger licking good. Alex says the C stands for what in KFC? Patricia says no, not eating plant-based. That's her 5 words. Rhonda says I won't be trying it. And Anita said gag me with a pitchfork. Dwayne Young says that is just not right.
Were there any positive comments?
No, in fact, I read through. There were a couple that said I'll give it a shot kind of thing. But nobody was like, absolutely, it's better for you, but nobody.
I actually like plant-based products. I mean, I've tried some of them, and they're really not that bad, but I think people need to know the difference between just a meatless option doesn't necessarily mean it's a healthier option.
And it doesn't necessarily mean it's vegetarian.
Yeah.
In some cases, some of these fast food places have got in trouble for using the same meat oil to fry this stuff in. So you gotta ask about that too.
If that's a thing for you. Yeah, so I can't I would try it. I'll try anything. I mean, Lauren's like that too. She'll at least
I'll
do
try everything.
Do a try it bite, right? As we say to my kids. I will try it, but it's just when you word it, when you use the phrase like meatless chicken, it just doesn't sound right.
I think people are just hopping on the bandwagon. It really should just be an option for people who don't like to eat meat, because if you look at the calorie intake, one nugget, I looked it up, it's like 60. So if you had like 6 of these things, that's like 400 calories. So it's not necessarily healthier. So if you choose this, you're not eating healthier, it's just a meatless option. So if you don't want to eat meat, this is an option for you.
I did try the Impossible Whopper at Burger King one day just to see.
Wasn't bad.
Not bad. Yeah. I could live
Beyond
with that.
Burgers, those are great too.
But you know what? I never thought to myself, I've got to go get one.
Yeah, right.
I gotta get that
I had it
meatless
once,
chicken.
that was good.
It's not like the McRib sandwich when it has its own Facebook page.
Now when they have the meatless McRib
Now that might be,
sandwich.
now that might be something. All right, we'll take a break. You debate, and we'll be right back. Beyond.
Oh, here it is. A new survey from the U.S. Census Bureau found parents increased quality time with their children at the start of the pandemic. So I asked you on Facebook, how do you spend quality time with your family? Anthony Ashton says in prayer, board games, everyone has to do a chore, Sunday dinners, flag football, family shows, no cell phone dinners, and breakfast. Joni Lynn says, I cook sometimes for us to gather and plan field trips or trips to include elders and children. Brittany Wall says, go shopping, we eat together, we have fun together, we worship together, enjoy one another's company. Crystal Davis wrote movies, snacks, board games. Jasmine Jaylene says arts and crafts, singing and dancing, watching TV. So
That's
lots of fun stuff there.
So my thing is we're big on movie night. Like that's our number one thing. We throw out blankets on the floor, and then we do like almost like charcuterie, right? Like cheese and nuts and crackers and all that, and everybody just kind of grazes and watches movies. That's our favorite family time thing.
At the start of the pandemic, our family was pretty spread out. So I was living in Tennessee, my sister was in North Carolina, my parents were in Virginia. So what we started to do was we had Coleman family brunch at 11 o'clock on Saturdays, where we would just get on Zoom, have our breakfast and talk. We haven't been doing it now, but I still get the alerts every other Saturday that it's like Coleman family brunch coming up in 15 minutes.
Yeah, this pandemic has gone on so long now. All the stuff that we started at the beginning, I've kind of forgotten about. We used to do actual dinner at the dinner table. I really miss that and feel like bringing it back now.
That would be a great thing to do. That's definitely something I plan to do with my family. We had dinner every single night, except for maybe like on a Saturday or something. We did our own thing, but we made sure we had dinner at the family table together.
I think that's big for families. It's the only time of the day really when you all connect at the same place at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, we'll take a break and we're coming right back. Stay there.
Wait.
Hey, there's Chad.
I was like,
lurking.
I'm waiting.
I'll see people like booking flights and stuff. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Hi, Alcoholic Fresca coming soon to a store.
Hi there, Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California.
Hey, we are talking about the insurrection.
I'm sorry, but Alcoholic Fresca, Tim, sounds disgusting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
High call volume and staffing shortages. Mic check 1, 2, 3, 4.
I want to share a couple things with you that have really gotten to me lately. I'm becoming more and more frustrated with the so-called cable news channels. MSNBC, Fox News, and CNN, they all seem to be the same, bashing the other side and the politicians who align with them. It's clear they've got an agenda and an opinion. We'll oftentimes get lumped in with those cable news outlets, and they're giving us local TV news stations a bad name. That's the big difference between us and them. Whether you believe it or not, we report the facts, and just that. We don't tend to give our opinions when reporting news stories. We learned in journalism school long ago to avoid them at all costs. Obviously, during My 2 Cents, this segment is designed to give our opinion on certain topics, but only in this segment and never about politics. It also bugs me when people call us the liberal media. Are there liberals who work in the news business? Absolutely. But there are also lots of conservatives. Just like you, we're all conservative, liberal, or somewhere in between, but that does not play a role in how local journalists report the facts. In our daily newsroom editorial meetings, we openly discuss ways to tell stories. At the forefront, it's vital we tell both sides. I can honestly tell you that everyone I know in the local TV news business is doing their best to give you the facts in a fair and balanced way. Please don't lump us in with the cable news outlets. We are constantly striving to be better than that. That's just my 2 cents, and your 4 to 5. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts right now.